My name is Jenny Stang. I am the Caregiver Outreach Specialist for Alabama Lifespan Respite. And what that means is I bring you at least one education opportunity a week to give you some tips, give you some information that hopefully will help you on your caregiving journey. I'm also a social worker and I am trauma-informed crisis counselor. And so I like to open every education that I do and let you all know that if you need to schedule a care chat with me, if you just want to call, unburden yourself, vent, whatever the case may be, I'm available for you to do that. And I will put my email address in the chat. So if anybody who does want to reach out and schedule a care chat, they're welcome to do so through my email. If I can talk and type at the same time. There we go. Okay, and today we're going to talk about caregiving with chronic pain. I experienced chronic pain probably for the last 15 years. I've got a lot of lower back pain. I experienced migraines. And so I thought this would be a great topic for me, not only for me to research and learn about, but also for all of you, because chronic pain is incredibly common, especially with caregivers. So I'll go ahead and pull up my PowerPoint and get that shared. There we go. And I want to give you all, as usual, some statistics, some information about chronic pain. I think it's important that we understand chronic pain and the definition of it, because sometimes we don't think we're experiencing chronic pain. We think, well, I just have back pain, or, my leg hurts sometimes. So I think it's good to understand what chronic pain is. So that way we can attack it head on, right? So we know exactly what we're dealing with, and I'll go through prevention, I'll go through pain management tips, and hopefully you guys can find some information worth holding on to, and that can help you as you care for your loved ones. So our agenda, what is chronic pain? Chronic pain statistics, preventing injury, and pain management tips. So before we get into it, I do want to let you know that this presentation is just for informational purposes and should not be a substitute for medical advice from a licensed practitioner. I am not a doctor. I am not in the medical field in any stretch of the imagination. So everything I'm presenting to you is just information that I've researched, and it's readily available online. I do have my sources if anyone needs those. So just take the information, not as instruction. And of course, please talk to your doctor or healthcare professional before beginning any new exercise or treatment plan. So what is chronic pain? Chronic pain is pain that lasts for over 3 months. Now, this is interesting because I think of chronic pain as something that's a constant pain, but no, it can be there all the time, or it can come and go, and it can happen anywhere in your body. So I'll use myself as an example. I injure my back probably once every 3 to 4 months, where I can't walk very well. I'm actually kind of recovering from an injury right now. And I didn't realize that was chronic pain. I just thought, well, I just have a bad back. But no, apparently the definition of chronic pain is it doesn't have to be constant. It can come and go, and it lasts longer than 3 months. So chronic pain can interfere with your daily activities, such as working, having a social life, and taking care of yourself or others. It can lead to depression, anxiety, and trouble sleeping, which can make your pain worse. And this creates a cycle that's difficult to break. So if I could just get some rest, I'd feel better, but I can't rest until I feel better. So it's kind of like a catch-22, right? All right, so what is the difference between chronic pain and other pain? Chronic pain is different from another type of pain called acute pain. Acute pain happens when you hurt yourself. So you can cut your skin or you can break a bone, and it doesn't really last very long, and it goes away after your body heals from whatever caused the pain. So that's what acute pain is. In contrast, chronic pain continues long after you've recovered from your injury or illness, and sometimes it even happens for no obvious reason. So chronic pain is a very common condition and one of the most common reasons why someone seeks medical care. Approximately 25% of adults experience chronic pain in the United States. So some of the more common forms of chronic pain: arthritis or joint pain, back pain, neck pain, cancer pain near a tumor, headaches, including migraines, and those are two different things, testicular pain or orchialgia. I even have a pronunciation written down here and I still said it wrong. Lasting pain and scar tissue, muscle pain all over, such as with fibromyalgia, and neurogenic pain from damage to the nerves or other parts of the nervous system. So this is not an all-inclusive list of chronic pain. These are just some of the more common experiences people have reported. So you may have chronic pain in different areas of your body. Doesn't make it not chronic just because it isn't on this list. So there is a PhD occupational therapist in Ohio State School of Health and Rehabilitation Science. Her name is Amy Darragh, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But she won a grant from the Ohio State Center for Clinical and Translational Sciences to study chronic pain in caregivers. So I don't know if, for those of you who were on maybe a couple of my lessons ago, after the pandemic hit, when we realized that, you know, caregivers were really struggling, and we realized that the work you all do is really beneficial to our society as a whole, we started researching more about your needs, what you're lacking, what kind of supports we can have. And so this is one of the research studies that came about after COVID to research chronic pain in caregivers. So almost all the caregivers who participated in this study said that they experienced significant musculoskeletal discomfort related to caregiving activities, and that the discomfort interfered with their ability to provide care, to work, and participate in their life activities. So 94% reported experiencing musculoskeletal pain in at least one body part. 76% said that pain was in their lower back. 43% reported knees, shoulders, and wrists being the most common sites for discomfort. More than 78% of caregivers said that the pain impacted their ability to provide care, and 66% said the pain impacted their overall quality of life. So research team asked caregivers to identify tasks that they felt were the most physically demanding, and they reported that transfers, toileting, bathing, navigating stairs, and recovering from falls were the most difficult to perform. I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but as you know, moving somebody every once in a while isn't a big deal, but having to move somebody every day, multiple times a day, it really can wear you down. So if you are what we call a high intensity caregiver, which means that there's a lot of physical labor involved in the care for your loved one, you're probably going to be experiencing chronic pain in multiple areas because you are working your body to move somebody who may be twice your size. You know, sometimes, especially if you're caregiving for a spouse, you know, maybe if you're a wife and your husband is, you know, maybe 6'2" and weighs a couple hundred pounds, and you're, you know, 5'4" and maybe, you know, 150 or less, that can be very difficult. And so caregiving chronic pain is quite common because of those reasons. So high intensity family caregivers, we got a couple tips for you. So professional caregivers report similar experiences with chronic pain, but they have access to training and technology that help reduce the risk of their injury. So, you know, if you're trained on how to lift, if you're trained on how to bend, if you've got the devices to help you, even then you're still going to have pain by doing the caregiving work. So if it's that difficult for professionals, how much more so is it for those of us who are not professionals and we're not trained? So here's some tips that can kind of help you if you are a high intensity family caregiver. First and foremost, you can get trained. So there are local resources, including hospitals, the Red Cross, the area agencies on aging, which I've got a whole list of phone numbers for whatever county you're in. They can offer training classes for caregivers. And then also the National Alliance for Caregiving has an online library of resources that can help. So how you care for your loved one, how you lift them, how you move them, makes all the difference. Get organized. So that just means document everything you're doing and keep a list of your activities. Maintaining good records and keeping track of who you talk to, file notes on resources and support groups. I think this is just good information or a good tip whether you're experiencing chronic pain or not, especially if you're looking for respite services to have your daily routines documented. It makes it a lot easier for someone coming in to take over for you for a while. So getting organized is just a good tip, regardless if you're experiencing pain or not. Next, get help. Don't be afraid to ask family members and friends to help you, and be willing to accept that help when it's offered. Sometimes people say, is there anything I can do for you? And our knee-jerk reaction is to be like, no, I'm fine. Don't do that. Say, yes, I do need help, and here are the ways that you can be helpful to me. If you ever feel like you can't keep yourself or your care recipient healthy and safe, it's time to seek additional resources. Caregiving is hard, and as illnesses change, needs change, right? So maybe in the beginning of your caregiving journey, it really wasn't that difficult for you to help somebody get to the toilet or to help somebody get up into their bed. But maybe things are getting more difficult. Maybe they can't support their own weight like they used to. Maybe they're combative. Maybe accidents are happening more frequently, and so it's difficult for you to give them the care that they need. It's okay to make changes as the needs change, and it's okay if you aren't able to do it all on your own anymore. Okay, because like we said, things change. You change, your loved one's needs change, and so it's okay to say, I can't do this in the same way that I used to anymore, and get help for it. Get care. So here we go, back on our broken record. Take care of yourself. Keep healthy, eat well, sleep well, and see your physician regularly. And be sure to take small breaks for yourself every day. And we'll get into why it's important for stress reduction and pain. We'll talk about that link here in a second. Get informed. Learn about available community resources such as adult daycares, respite programs, support groups, and volunteers that can help. There's a lot in the area that we could add for sure, but that doesn't mean resources are not available. Lost my train of thought, already read that. Okay, so even if you don't need those resources now, you might need them later, okay? Because like we said, caregiving needs change. Some of you are in the very beginning of your caregiving journey, and it's a little easier to manage. Some of you are towards the end of your caregiving journey, and needs are a little bit more intense and more great. So it's always good to have a toolkit readily available. So when needs change, your services can change. You know exactly what's available to you. So now we're going to talk about stress and chronic pain. They are BFFs, best friends forever, okay? Because it's very common to have more injuries and more pain when you're more stressed out. So as a caregiver, you might expect to face frustration, anxiety, or exhaustion. But the chronic stress that you face can also cause back pain or exacerbate pain caused by previous injuries. The intensity of pain can range from a constant and dull to intermittently and piercing, affecting both your quality of life and your ability to provide care for your loved one. So if we compare a group of caregivers to a group of non-caregivers with similar physical health profiles, there's a team of researchers in Spain that found out that caregivers reported more emotional stress and displayed more back pain, weakness, and postural strain, even if they didn't regularly lift the person they tended. So yes, the physical toll is there, and it does increase the likelihood of pain and injury and chronic pain. But if you mix stress into the mix, it's going to be even more so. So stress and pain are very, very much linked. There's a Stanford University health psychologist named Kelly McGonigal, I think is how you say her name. We'll just call her Kelly. She says that the stress that caregivers experience activates the nervous system, causing pain signals to reach the brain more rapidly and amplifying those signals. So this can make low-level pain that you might be able to naturally suppress when you're not under stress impossible to ignore. The stress pain cycle is hard to escape. Your body naturally tenses up in stressful situations, and this chronic muscle tension is a major cause of stress-related chronic pain. So I'm sure you guys probably thinking back, like, yeah, I remember when I hurt myself and it was really stressful at this time. It makes sense, right? So if you're stressed out, your body's kind of bracing for impact, you're tight, you're tense in your muscles, and then you pivot funny, or you pick something up in the wrong way, or you twist your back in an awkward position, and it's going to cause that injury. It's going to cause that pain because your muscles are tight and they're not fluid and allowing that movement. The muscles most likely to tighten up and become sore due to chronic stress are in your back, in your shoulders, and in your neck. The routines of caregivers contribute to the pain. So you're often in positions where your back and neck are stressed because you're necessarily having to bend forward, lift people, and it places tension on the back and the neck. Some signs that you're carrying stress in your back can include muscle tension, tightness, poor flexibility, limited range of muscle motion, and muscle knots. And the pain of stress in the back can come out as an aching pain, a sharp pain, or a radiating pain, which is kind of like there's a center pain and then it just kind of spans out like in a circle, kind of like when you drop a stone in some water and it ripples out. That's what radiating pain is. So here are some smart strategies for easing pain or easing stress and protecting your back. Now we're focusing a lot on the back because that's a very common injury area, especially for caregivers, because you are lifting, you are bending, you are stooping a lot. So that doesn't mean that these tips can't be used for other areas of pain, but most of the focus is going to be on low back pain and neck pain because that seems to be the most common area that we find this chronic pain. So we can exercise relaxation. So yoga, meditation, y'all know I love meditation. Breathing exercises are some of the easiest ways to relieve stress. Now, I say this knowing that if you're super stressed out and if you're in a lot of pain, sitting still and breathing in deeply and slowly is not going to fix it, okay? This is just a tool that you can use in conjunction with other tools, okay? So taking that time out just to take those deep breaths and to maybe meditate and to do some stretching, it will help in conjunction with other things, okay? So I'm not trying to minimize the pain by giving you a simple solution. Okay, please don't think that. This is just something that can help you in the long run as you continue on your wellness journey and your stress reduction journey. Getting plenty of rest. Sometimes it's easier said than done, especially if some of you are caring for people who have a difficulty sleeping. Maybe they're up all night with insomnia, maybe they wander. That's a little hard to get rest when you're up constantly all night. But you can actually bank sleep. I didn't know this. If you are, getting 4 hours of sleep every night and then you crash for maybe 12 hours, that'll help kind of get you over the hump. So you can bank sleep. It actually kind of stores that rest up in your body. So sleep when you can, nap when you can. I know a lot of times we think, well, I could take a nap or I could run this load of laundry, or I could take a nap or I can, mop the floor. Okay. It's nice to have a clean home and it's nice to get those tasks done, but I would say prioritize sleep as often as you possibly can. The reason is because adequate rest is a critical part of managing your stress. So for most people, that means 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Sleep allows muscles to recover and the discs in your spine to rehydrate. So those dirty floors will be there when you finish taking your nap. Those dishes will be there, whatever it is that you're going to do. But the sleep is a priority, something you should prioritize for yourself, especially if you're not able to get that sleep overnight. Take those naps if you can. Take breaks. Finding time for 15 to 30 minute breaks each day to decrease the buildup of stress in your spine. So that could mean instead of completing a task and then immediately jumping to the next, take you a little rest. Right? Release your muscles from the duty of constantly working, even if it's just a few minutes. And if you can't do 3 15-minute breaks, do 3 5-minute breaks. Okay. The goal here is to build up that routine, prioritizing rest, prioritizing breaks, because your body can only do so much, right? Just like we have to put gas in our car and we have to keep oil in it and all those fun things. Our bodies are the same way. We have to keep up with the maintenance. Otherwise, we're going to have more problems. Just reading my notes, it says caregivers must have time for themselves to participate in activities that you enjoy, such as coffee with friends, morning walks, Bible studies, or exercise. So again, this is going to help you decompress that stress mentally, and it'll show up physically the less stressed you are. Some more strategies: drinking water. So when you're dehydrated, the discs between your vertebrae shrink and the nerves become pinched, increasing your pain. So drink plenty of water to help keep your muscles and your discs hydrated. Lift smartly. Always keep the person or the object that you're lifting close to your body and lift with your legs. Those are the strongest part of your body. Keep your back straight and avoid twisting or similar motions that take your body out of alignment or force your feet to pivot. Now, I'll tell you, this right here is how it hurt my back most recently. I was stressed out, family drama, you know how it is. My back was super tight, and I went to lift a laundry basket that was way too full because I have a bunch of teenagers who don't do their laundry regularly. And I just twisted, I just shifted in a funny, awkward way, and I pulled my back out. So you don't even have to be doing anything extra strenuous. I mean, if you've got that tension already there, I mean, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. So try to be very conscious of how you are moving, especially if you have a lot of tension, because it might seem like something simple, but you know, you add in the stress and you add in lack of sleep, you add in maybe you're not eating right, it all comes together into one perfect moment of pain. And so finally, stretching. Stretching can reduce stress in your back by increasing blood flow to its muscles. That doesn't mean you have to twist yourself up in a knot like a yogi. You don't have to be a contortionist to get the effects of stretching. These yoga blocks. So there's all kinds of adaptable devices that you can use if you can't touch your toes, but you want to stretch as much as you can. There's things you can use to kind of hold yourself up to make stretching easier. And of course, the more you do it, the less you're going to need those devices. But I have those. I have stretching belts. I have yoga blocks. Because I get tense, I get tight, and I can't move the way that I want to move. And so that allows me to do those stretches without hurting myself even further. So I would look into something like that if you're new to stretching. All right, so here's some prevention tips. A lot of these are going to be kind of similar to what I just went through, but I think it's worth repeating. Exercising, the most important component in preventing lower back pain is being physically active on a regular basis. So you can choose a variety of exercise types such as walking, swimming, aerobics, cardiovascular fitness, like running a treadmill, Pilates or yoga to stretch and strengthen the muscles of the spine, resistance training to build and maintain muscle mass. Being active will also help you keep your weight within a healthy range, which is also an important factor in preventing back injury. When I say the word exercise, I almost can feel some of you going like, "Ugh, I don't have time to exercise," or "I don't want to exercise. I don't like to exercise." Exercise is not, the gym bros and they're lifting 250 pounds and, eating protein shakes and all that. It's really just moving your body. Okay. And that can be any way that you feel comfortable moving your body. That could be dancing. That could be walking around your apartment. That could be walking down your street. The exercise really is just moving your body, getting those muscles going, getting those joints going. And the more you do it, the more you'll crave it. So don't let the word exercise scare you. It's really just movement. Next, we've got posture. Keeping your spine in line when sitting or standing, avoiding positions in which your head and shoulders slouch forward. When sitting, choose a chair that has good back support and sit with your feet on the floor. Choose footwear without heels and with good cushioning and arch support. It's like they're talking to me, right? Because I slouch all the time. I'm in front of my computer all the time, or I'm, on my phone. And I think a lot of us in this modern society, we just kind of do that without thinking. And so this is just a good reminder that if our posture starts to slouch, just kind of sit up a little bit, sit tall. Not to where you're uncomfortable, obviously, but that slouch is really easy to do with our head hanging forward, and that causes a lot of stress on our upper back, and that can increase our likelihood of getting chronic pain in our back. And then again, lifting techniques, bringing that object or the person you're lifting as close as possible to your body and using your legs to do the work, not the muscles of your back. That's really difficult if you're in the habit of doing that. So again, this is where some mindfulness practice can come into play, where you're just being very aware of how your body is moving, what muscles are being engaged when you do these activities. And then over time, it'll become second nature to you to lift with your legs and not with your back. Avoid combining lifting and twisting wherever possible, and try to not move suddenly. So special considerations for caregivers. When caring for another individual, a healthy back needs to be high on your list of priorities. Again, even if you're not lifting somebody that you care about, taking on all of the household chores can be very strenuous on your back. Maybe helping them, bending over and helping them, move their legs or tie their shoes or get dressed, or helping somebody use the toilet. That's all going to, that's a high intensity caring that you're doing. And so that can definitely cause stress and pain. So we have to be very, very intentional with how we move. It can be very difficult to care for yourself when lower back pain strikes, let alone with somebody else. So prioritizing your own spine health is important for your well-being. And without a healthy back, you're much less useful to someone else, right? If you pull your back out and you can't move for 3 days, that's going to be incredibly difficult, and you can risk greater energy or injury by pushing through the pain sometimes. So it's good to be proactive with prevention. So again, it's of the utmost importance that caregivers take frequent breaks throughout the day to do both rest and incorporate some physical activity, such as a brisk walk, an exercise class, resistance training, or even just a few minutes of yoga or stretching. Resistance training is going to be like weightlifting, but you can also get those resistance bands. I've got a couple of those in my sock drawer. You just kind of pull them out and you just kind of do a couple, arms and legs stretches or resistance training with those. It doesn't have to be intimidating. It can be very simple. I think with exercise, it's the consistency that matters more so than the intensity. So if you're doing low intensity workouts, low intensity exercises every day, that's going to benefit you much better than if you work out really, really hard twice a week. Okay, it's the consistency. When helping your loved one with bathing or dressing, try not to stay in a bent posture for prolonged periods, and especially avoid bending combined with side bending or twisting. It's very easy to kind of get into that mindset of, I just got to get this done fast. I got to get this over with. I got to move on to the next task. And I'm encouraging you to slow down. Okay. Make sure that you are taking proper steps to protect your spine, protect your shoulders and your neck. If it's possible, have the person that you're assisting to move closer to you so you don't have to bend and reach as far. If you have an adjustable bed or other lifting aids, use them. Raising or lowering the height of a bed can significantly reduce stress on the lower back. So some of you may have people that you're caring for that have these adjustable devices or have these lifting devices in their beds. I'm assuming there's several of you who probably don't. So if you can raise the height of the bed, if it's safe for you to do so, I would encourage you to do that because it can help because you're not bending and stooping and stretching and reaching as much if it's closer to you, the bed is closer to you. Take your time, be patient, and allow the person you're helping to do as much of each task as they can. It can be pretty easy to kind of get caught up in like, well, I'll just do it because it'll be faster. But like the notes say, if you rush through that caregiving task or not waiting for help, it might save you some time, it might save you a few minutes, but it will eventually lead to back injury. Okay, so it's worth taking your time. Back strains often occur when something unexpected happens, such as a fall or sudden movements. If it does happen, do your best to keep your loved one safe, but do not try to catch or hold another person's entire body weight by yourself, especially if they're larger than you. So instead, it's suggested that you try to lower your loved one slowly to a seat or to the floor, protecting their head, okay? So you guys might both fall at the same time. I've seen that happen in real life before. But trying to catch and hold somebody's complete body weight, you're probably going to fall over anyway. So it's just kind of fall safely. Don't try to hold them up because you could injure yourself much more deeply if you do that. So here's just some information on different treatments. So if you have lower back pain or any of these following symptoms for longer than a week or two, consider booking an appointment with a practitioner who specializes in back pain. So if for more than a week or two, if you're experiencing back pain that's preventing you from functioning in the normal tasks of your life or work, if you feel a significant weakness in one or both legs, an example is where you feel like you're dragging one or both of your feet, or having difficulty lifting or pushing off with your legs. Okay, that's a red flag. If your pain radiates into your buttocks or into your legs, if it's traveling, that's an indicator that you need to see a professional. Or if you experience numbness or tingling in your legs, okay, that could be an indication of several things, but most commonly that I can think of off the top of my head would be compression in your discs or maybe a pinched nerve. Activity versus bed rest. The most important thing to do is to keep moving. Old wisdom advised days or weeks of bed rest, but now we know that resting in bed for more than a day or two weakens the muscles and stiffens the joints, and it makes back pain worse and increases the likelihood of your back pain becoming chronic. So try to take short, frequent walks and avoid sitting for more than 30 or 40 minutes without getting up to move. That doesn't mean get up and move as normal. Obviously, you might have to be more cautious and more sensitive to your pain, but sitting still, laying in bed for a week or whatever is not going to make it go away. It's probably going to make it worse. So try to move. You know, of course, initially you want to rest, but you don't want to stay in that bed for too long. And next, we've got medication. So if your pain is difficult to tolerate and it's keeping you from moving or functioning, speak to your doctor or your pharmacist about taking over-the-counter medication for your pain. Like I'll take Aleve or I'll take ibuprofen, and that usually helps. But if you have pain that's more severe, your doctor might prescribe you prescription painkillers, anti-inflammatories, or muscle relaxants. Okay, but again, of course, use those under your doctor's supervision. Next, ice versus heat. So for the first day or two after the onset of pain, apply ice packs to the area for 10 to 15 minutes at a time. This could be your lower back, it could be your legs, it could be your wrists, it could be your neck or your shoulders, so anywhere where there's pain. Afterwards, you can switch to heat for no more than 15 to 20 minutes at a time. Some people find alternating heat and ice gives some relief. And use whichever feels most comfortable to you. I think this is a great tip. Like I said, I have a back injury, so I suffer from chronic pain quite frequently, and I do alternate, and it does make a difference. I obviously enjoy the heat a little bit more than the ice, but I don't know, with this heat wave, the ice isn't feeling so bad, to be honest with you. Next, gentle exercise. We said it already before, and it's very important. That's why we keep bringing it up. Therapeutic exercise should be a key element in any treatment pain or plan after a low back injury. Ideally, a physiotherapist or other health professional should give you personalized guidance on what types of movements are best for your back injury and what types should be avoided. A general rule is to avoid sudden movements, move slowly and gently, and pay attention to your body's reaction to careful motion. Now, I am fully aware that not everybody has a physiotherapist or health professionals at their disposal to give them personalized exercises. But there are a lot of really good resources online. Maybe you have a general practitioner, you can ask them to kind of help guide you. You don't have to have a tailor-made exercise program to find exercises that can relieve your pain. So don't be intimidated by that. That's just a suggestion that I got off the internet. So a good response and a sign to keep going with your gentle exercise and your treatments is a gradual easing of pain and tension as you repeat those movements. So if your pain increases, making symptoms spread to a wider area on your back or on your body, then stop and try a different movement. Okay, so accepting that there will be some pain in your recovery is ideal, but not to where you are in excruciating pain or you feel like you're causing more injury. Like you want to be very, very gentle and compassionate with yourself as you move to try and heal. But it's important that you do continue to move. So here are some of my sources if anybody's interested in looking them up. Obviously, these aren't clickable links, so it might be a little more difficult to write down all those letters. But I'll leave this up just for a little bit. And of course, all of our education is available online afterwards. And so if you want to go back and take some notes and write these sources down, it will be available online at alabamarespite.org. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And I would like to see if anybody has any comments, any insights. I know I shared a little bit about my chronic pain journey. And I know I'm not the only one who has it. Obviously, you guys are all here for a reason. So if anyone wants to share or have any questions, it's open for you guys. Go ahead and do that.
Yes, I'm Minnie for everybody. And I take care of my mom. She is now 101. She is still mobile with her walker, so I don't have to do as much lifting with her as, she can sit down in a chair and get up. I just have to coax her when we're getting in the shower. I have to kind of hold on to her. But mostly she's still mobile. So I'm blessed in the fact that I don't have to do a lot of lifting. But I do suffer with lower back pain. Both knees are infested with arthritis, my ankles, and I tore a rotator cuff. And when one shoulder acts up, they say years down the road, the other one is just going to follow suit. So I told, and I go see a chiropractor for my back twice a week, and I get relief from that. But then I had to learn that just laying around the house, keeping an eye on her is not good enough. In the housework, mopping the floor, that stuff you're going to do all the time. So I have to make time for little extra things. I don't take walks because of my knees. I have one knee that's bone on bone and it needs replacing. So it's impossible for me to walk, but I did buy a stationary bicycle, and it is so difficult to ride a bicycle and not be going anywhere.
It's a little strange, yeah.
The same as walking on a treadmill, looking at the same wall for 30 minutes. But I incorporated the bicycle, and I can get outside in the yard, maybe walk around the house or something. And even when I'm in the bed, I find before I get up, I've learned to do stretches. Stretching my arms and, pulling my knees up before I get up. It kind of assists me with actually getting up. So yeah, pain and the pain sometimes with me, it is severe to the point that I'm in tears. And I don't like medicine, so that's why I go to the chiropractor, trying to stay away from as much medication as possible. But yeah, the little small exercises are while you're just sitting watching TV, just start moving your knee, pretend you're walking while you could do that for an hour, and that's exercise. And if you want to lift weights, you ain't got to go to a gym. Go in your cabinet and get you 2 cans of beans or something, and you got some automatic weights. So there are little things that we can do, and sometimes we have to be a little creative, and taking the time for ourselves. And I like to take that moment. I say my moment with God daily, and all those things they help me. They help me, and I hope that maybe I shared something that can or may help someone else.
Thank you so much for sharing, Minnie. I'm sure there's several people here that can relate to the words you just said, especially I really appreciate you encouraging people to find whatever way that they can to get that movement. Like you said, you don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to have a weight room. You can just make creative solutions with what you have available to you. So thank you so much for sharing that, Minnie.
I will say I wish that I had listened to advice, lifting with your knees and not your back when I was younger. I've cared for both my grandparents on both sides. They had Alzheimer's and dementia. I cared for my mother. She was diabetic. And my sister has mental health issues as well. And then working, I seem to have always found jobs that required a lot of lifting, and I didn't really pay attention to that advice when I was younger. And so now with the added stress, I find when I am more stressed out, my back hurts a lot more. I have issues with my sciatic nerve. I also have scoliosis and arthritis. So I've noticed that, later on in life when I become more stressed out, I feel more sick, I feel more nauseous, and I have more body pain. Um, I am I am active. I'm not as active as I would like to be just because there's not enough time in the day, but uh, I have started an exercise routine recently, like 2 weeks ago, where for 30 minutes I am consistently active to try to help with some aches and pains and things like that. But yeah, that's definitely true what they say about the stress. And I'm actually currently looking for like a pain specialist or a chiropractor to kind of because I'm also trying to stay away from all the medication. But I am trying to be more active and kind of working through the pain because I do know that staying in bed doesn't make the sore back or anything feel any better. It ends up when you do finally get out of bed that you're likely hurting more than you were when you first got into bed. So trying to tweak some things and learn some ways to kind of help with the stress. I do get up like 5 or 10 minutes earlier than the alarm, and I'll just kind of sit in bed quietly and just close my eyes and meditate and just take deep breaths in and out. That'll help, like, kind of set your mind for the day, like clear your mind, and you know, hopefully go into the day on a positive note.
Thank you for sharing that, Crystal. Now, you said that it was a fairly recent routine you started picking up. Do you notice a difference since you've started doing it regularly in your stress levels and your pain levels?
I okay. It's a bad time to ask that. I have a lot of extra stress from, a family situation, so
Gotcha.
it probably would have helped with that stress if this new situation, um, but I did how much, my knees were an issue until, this new routine, so I'm trying to work through things and get more use of my knees.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that I had as many issues as I did until I started. But I've stuck with it. Like I think Monday will be the third week. And like there have been days I was just hurting and I didn't feel like doing it. And just kind of like this is why you're in the situation 30 minutes. You can put on the show you want to watch
Right.
and do that in 30 minutes. But I find like I
Mhm.
made a lot of excuses over the years and like and as much as I hated being told you just have to make time, it's absolutely true.
Yeah, it is true, Crystal, and it is difficult, especially when the tasks keep piling up. But, this is, um, kind of a running theme with our caregiver education here, where it's like
Well,
if you care for yourself, that is caring for your loved one. So making time for yourself is going to make things a lot easier for
like
everybody
even
involved.
sitting on the toilet, something is, in my
You're cutting out, Crystal. All right. I think, can anybody else hear Crystal, or is it just me?
I can't hear. Hey, Jenny, I had a quick question.
Sure.
So you don't want us to put our email in the chat?
No, yes, please do. Please do
Okay.
put your email in the chat. I'll send you a survey after this. And this is our education stipend opportunity. And so if you participate, and you qualify with the survey that I give you, you will get a stipend for participating today. So please, please, please put your email address in the chat. Does anybody else have anything that they want to share? I think it's encouraging to see other people having some of the same issues, having some of the same, being on the same journey. Sometimes it's easy for us to say, well, it's not that bad, or, you know, it's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. But then when you see other people, it's like validates your experience. And so I think it's good that we have this time to share. If anybody else wants to.
Yeah, I do. I had, over the summer, I had total knee replacement. And for a while, I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed home. And I'm doing PT now. And they told me that I need to walk. I need to be moving. So I've been walking, and I've been using the stairs instead of the elevator. I told my therapist that it really made my knee sore, and he told me that I need to keep doing it, that it will eventually get better. So
Yeah. And building up that muscle strength is going to help protect the joints and protect the ligaments, and protect the spine. If you don't have any muscle there to kind of hold you up, then it's, you know, all that pressure that you're, you know, when you walk or when you lift or when you help somebody else, that's all that weight is being held up just by your spine or just by your bones. So you want to definitely increase the muscle around those areas to help protect them.
and also
That's
my
why
mom will, I mean, when my mom fell and I could not lift her up.
Yeah.
I mean, I would break my back lifting her up, so I had to call 911. And they came and lifted her up. So.
Yeah, that's pretty common. That's pretty common. Thank you for sharing, Angela. And I hope that your recovery with your PT and your replacement goes smoothly.
Thank you.
Angela, I can tell you, I had knee replacement a few years ago. Yeah, it's a rough road, but you got to go through the pain to get pain free. So hang in there.
Okay. Well, it's been like, I had the surgery in June. And I'm still doing PT. So I mean, how long will the pain last?
They told me it's different for everyone. For me, it was like I had mine in October. It was around springtime, April or May, before I started to really, really feel the new knee, the relief from it. So it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I have one for everybody. It's Reform Pilates. And if you're in an area where Club Pilates is, you can join. You have 4 visits per month, and Medicare will pick it up if you have Medicare. But if you're in an area where Club Pilates is, and what that is really stretching, and you're using the weights, so you're working the muscles harder than you would just actually doing stretching and stuff. And it's been great, mind, body, and soul.
Yes, I love Pilates. Thank you for sharing that, Shirley. It's a very low impact, but what's the word I want to look for? It's you get a lot for a little, I would say.
And the great part, because you can get 4 visits. If you're with Medicare, you can choose them as your fitness center. And it's free.
And you
That's
said
amazing
it's Club Pilates?
information.
You said Club Pilates?
Club Pilates. Okay. Are
I
you in the
love all this.
Birmingham area?
I'm in Opelika, Alabama.
Okay. There may be one in that area because it's down by Auburn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'll look it up and see.
But
But
you
you know,
all
I
this
found
information sharing we're doing, because we learn so much from each other. That's why
Well, I'm not a really social person, not real social. And I have found in my 67 years of living, the best exercise program I had was my basic exercise I had from boot camp when I was in the Navy. Those exercises, because they touch all of the muscles, it's just a 15-minute routine, but that just works for me.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I
Well, if
tried going,
you
I
not
tried
want
going
anything.
to the gym. I tried the gym. I think I bought a membership, a 2-year membership, and I went about 5 times. And I would come home and do my indoor on the floor push-ups, sit-up, mountain climbers, and they just work for me because they actually touch and stretch every muscle in the body. And I hope I never forget them. I can't do most of them anymore, but I still try. I do the old lady version.
Yeah. I'm here for it. Yeah, and there's so many options out there for you that you can
Mhm.
find something that you like that you'll stick with. Because if we don't
Uh-huh.
enjoy it, we're not gonna stick with it. So
Exactly.
keep looking. It doesn't have to look the same for everybody.
Right.
Mhm.
There
Well,
is
I
one in
really
Auburn,
appreciate.
Nenny.
There is.
There is one there. Yeah,
Thank you.
go by and talk to them.
Well, I've really enjoyed this back and forth. I've enjoyed everyone sharing their tips and their stories. I think when we hear similar stories from others, we feel less alone. And
Mhm.
at least for me, if I know that I'm not the only one feeling this way, it's a lot easier for me to validate my own journey and seek help for myself. And so I hope that you have found that here. Um, is there anything else anybody wants to add before we close up?
No, other than
No.
everybody try and stay cool, hydrated, and comfortable, and have a wonderful weekend.
Yes, I second that. So again, if you haven't put your email address in the chat, please do so. I will send you those surveys by the end of the day today. If you would like to contact me and do a care chat, please do so. If you are interested in our Caregiver Wellness Initiative, which is going to help you to get some counseling or therapy through a licensed professional, we are opening, our waiting list will be over in September. So if you are interested in that, please send me an email. I'll add you to the list. And then in September, we'll start filing those out. And please keep your eyes on the website. In our newsletter, I'll be sending one out to you next week about upcoming classes. I have a lady coming in to talk about nutrition and our mental health and the connection there. I'm having another lady come in and talk about geriatric psychiatry and maybe some warning signs to look out for if you're caring for somebody who's elderly. Lots of good fun things coming down the pipeline. So please keep your eye out for that newsletter that I'll be sending next week. And if you guys just need anything, I'm here. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay well, stay peaceful. Bye.